Hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Alyssa's here. Hello, Alyssa. Okay. Woo! Yay. Um, okay. So, hi, everyone. Hello. It's a lovely day here in Ohio. It is raining. I love rain. So I got my sliding door open. We're listening to the rain. Hello, Hella Nice Wings. It's a hella nice day, Hella Nice Wings. Gotta love the rain. Okay, if you can hear it, I hope it's not interfering with the mic, but I'm willing to sacrifice that so I can hear the rain. Let me see who is here. Let me see who is here. Who do we got? Who do we got? I know we got Doug on the left. Hello, Doug on the left. Doug on the left, and everyone else here. I just uploaded like 5 minutes ago another reaction video with my dad. We didn't get through the whole video because we debated a lot about things. Let's put it that way. We reacted to that video about homosexuality in the Bible. So feel free to check that out if you have a moment. That was Doug's recommendation. Thank you, Doug. Okay. We will probably do a second one. We'll react to the rest of it. It was an hour long, and we only gone through half of it. Okay. Hello, Dubois. Hello, welcome back, Dubois. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Hello, pizza, pizza. Okay, In Your Groove is here. I love the bananas there. Hopefully those weren't from Chiquita or any of those companies. Doug, I will I know I've been lazy about those Ren videos. I will get on that. Okay. Me too, Meowzor, totally. Okay, well, who else is here? Robert! Robert is here, one of the new originals of our channel. We got a lot, well, practically everyone I've mentioned so far is an original at this point. Okay. Dolly Boy, hello, Dolly Boy. Um, okay, Mithril, hello, Mithril, the light but indestructible armor that shall stop the swords of the Nazgul. Okay, yes. Evening to you, Mithril. We are a bunch of motley fools here. Okay, Louise. Hello, Louise. Another classic here. Louise is. Hella Nice Wings. Hello, Hella Nice Wings. Very quickly becoming an original, by the way. Very quickly becoming one. Victoria, another original. Hello, Victoria. Who else? Who else? Meowzord! I got Meowzord here. Meowzord, I think you're gonna like my presentation today. I tried to make it less. I'm trying to make it a little bit less shitty than normal. So hopefully you like the design I laid out here. Okay. Um. Meowzord, Dubois. Okay, what's your question, Dubois? Dubois says, I got a question for you, casual, and it's about your dad. Nothing bad at all. Tell me, Dubois. Okay. Guilt versus, let me see here. I don't know why I can't see it. There we go. Oh, that reminds me. Pizza says, oh, that reminds me. I just saw a video on guilt versus shame societies. You know what, Pizza? We should watch that because we're talking about societies today. Thank you for telling me. I love that dichotomy there. Okay, Meowzord, I will watch the Ren video, though now that you've recommended it, Meowzord, I don't know. It kind of takes away from it. Gotta say, Meowzord, I think I prefer Doug's recommendation. Just kidding. Just kidding. Am I kidding? Just kidding. Alyssa, yay, Alyssa. Alyssa now does have the correct gold gesture head next to her name, so that's good. Okay. Yes, it is inevitable, Meowzord. We are Friday deep dive stream will be probably on the Sengoku period of Japan, which I'm very excited for. How does my dad feel about socialism? Great question, Dubois. He is very open to it. He has moved further and further left as he's gotten older, which is interesting. He was a boomer, so he has some negative association in his mind with the Soviet Union and things like that. But he is very he's pretty much pro socialism at this point. Okay. I mean, obviously, I would argue that the Soviet Union wasn't a good example of that. So, okay. Mithril, I'm sorry. Why don't you feel indestructible, Mithril? Is that because of what's everything going on in the UK? Alan, Zoran with yet another foreign policy blunder today that caused massive. Well, first of all, welcome, Alan. Glad to see you here. Zoran with yet another foreign policy blunder today that caused massive infighting on the left. Him and AOC must have the same. What did he say? God, oh no, what did he say, Alan? Uh, okay. Further left. Yes, Dally boy, he has gone further left as he's gotten older, which is very unusual. Very unusual. Okay. Laws. Hello, Laws. Well, I'm glad to see you here, Laws. Meowzord, do you and Ren mean Ren as in high Ren? I'm not sure if they do. Well, guess we'll find out. Okay. So, guys, what have we talked about recently? On Saturday, we talked about chimpanzees and bonobos. Yesterday, because I jump around. It's the ADHD. I can't help it. Okay. We talked about bonobos and chimpanzees on Saturday. Yesterday we talked about Ruby Ridge, and today we are talking about cultural materialism. Now, this is a very important concept. However, you're all very bright out there. Don't get me wrong when I say this, okay? I know a lot of you, and you're all very bright. I really mean that. This is a graduate level topic, so I'm going to. I just want you to please don't feel free to ask for clarity. I will try. I've never had to teach this to. I've never had to teach this, if that makes sense. So please, if you need clarity on anything, just shout me out in chat. I will give clarity. And this is going to be very important, very, very important for the in-depth stream we do on Friday about um, the Sengoku period in Japan, because a lot of the language I use when I'm trying to give a college/graduate level analysis of something, I use language that comes from cultural materialism. So this is sort of a prequel to make the language and stuff I'll use on Friday more understandable. It also is just really good because for future streams for how we talk about things together. Okay. I am not calling you stupid, Alyssa. I am explicitly saying, Meowsword, no thank you. No thank you. I will not try a Japanese accent. You're not dumb, Demosthenes. None of you are dumb, okay? I just want to be clarify here, right? When you're a teacher, you're taught something called scaffolding, right? I for many years was in a graduate level where we used these words commonly, and so it's kind of like learning a new language. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It just has to do with using these words and things like that enough that they become part of your lexicon. Thank you, Doug. That helped me. Okay. All right. So because honestly, like going to grad school and stuff is just learning a new set of vocabulary and understanding what it means. We like to think that there's this horrible a barrier between people who don't go to graduate school. No, it's not there. It's just learning a bunch of vocabulary over multiple years. Obviously, there's a bit more to it than that, but you see what I mean, okay? Um, uh, uh, Absolutely, Fox Emblem. Be sure to study it yourself too, okay? Um, all right. As you all know, I always say Fox Emblem, okay? Um, no, you're not going to need a study group, okay? Okay, okay. I'll shut up, okay? Um, oh no, I'm sorry, Dubois. Okay, all right. So let's get started, shall we? And as we're going through this, obviously, as always, think about how it applies to our own societies. Okay. All right. So let's get to it. Okay. Ooh, look at that. You see that transition I have at Meowsor? That was pretty cool, right? That was pretty cool. A little slow transition there, kind of romantic, isn't it? Okay. Let's see here. Oop. Maybe it's romantic. Maybe if my camera comes back on. There we go. Okay. I will later, Meowsword. Okay, all right. That is correct. It is a dictatorship over there in Venezuela at this point. That is accurate. Okay. So, all right. So, cultural materialism. Cultural materialism. Now, this is a theory, an anthropological theory that also is a sociology theory It is an attempt at a total view of society. Not totalitarian, but like a holistic and total view of how societies work, and how culture comes out of societies. Okay, it is a very big theory. Um, it's kind of trying to answer the question: where does culture come from? Culture being anything that is learned and passed down by humans, not things that are biological, if that makes sense. Okay. Um, okay, yeah, a very broad view, pizza. This is very theoretical. Okay. And then, as we do with all theories, we can take these theories and apply them to specific things and see if they work. There are no like theories in sociology or anthropology that are as close to being like very correct as Darwin's theory of evolution. So there are gradations, all right? But this one is my favorite one. It's a lot of anthropologists' favorite one. Okay, so let's get into it. So first, we got to talk about this guy right here, Marvin Harris, who I love dearly. Uh, Marvin Harris, he actually passed away in 2001. He was born in 1927. Okay. He was an American anthropologist known for developing the theory of cultural materialism. He focused on how material conditions, for the Marxists out there, this will sound familiar. Okay. He focused on how material conditions, so for example, the environment, the economy, and technology, shape human culture and behavior. He was very much big into Marx. He thought there were some flaws in Marxism. Marx is probably the closest thing we have to like a Darwin of the social sciences, and so, but still isn't perfect. So he kind of added some to Marx. Um, Correct, Carlitos. He did not go hard on class struggle. Okay, but yeah, okay. So he was influenced by Marx a lot. A lot of anthropologists were. Okay, and so just be aware of that. You'll see some similarities here, but again, he tried to add more to Marx to make it more holistic. Okay, all right. He also, by the way, he was very, very controversial in his time because he would be at like every single American Anthropological Association meeting arguing with all the speakers. He was like that kid in the front of the class that's always arguing with the teacher, like sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. He was very much about critical thinking and deconstructing other people's arguments, which annoyed a lot of people in anthropology, but was also very useful. Okay, so let's move on here. So if you're more interested in his stuff, here are two books. I posted one of them in the Discord, in our resources. His book Cultural Materialism: The Struggle for a Science of Culture, and this one is very good. The one on the right here, Cows, Pigs, Wars, and Witches: The Riddles of Culture, which is him applying the theory to various aspects of different cultures. Okay. All right. Okay. Uh, all right. So let's go on here. Uh, all right. Uh, so let's continue. So, cultural materialism, right? Um, these were his thoughts on societies slash cultures. He kind of used the term interchangeably. So, a society or a culture. Okay. The first thing is that societies and cultures are complex systems. Yeah, no shit. Okay. Yeah, they are. Okay. They're complex systems. Okay. And he believed that the material conditions, which he called infrastructure of human existence, so technology, economy, and the environment are the primary drivers of culture. So how you get stuff out of the environment itself, and the means you have to exploit that environment kind of create out of that comes culture. Okay, comes ideas about culture, religion, things like that. Okay. Um, and he believed that typically widespread social practices, social slash cultural practices, and beliefs must be compatible with the material conditions of a society, and if they're not, that's not going to work. Okay. So, for example, if you have a certain religious belief, they're almost always compatible with the infrastructure of a society, which is, like I said, the interaction between a group and their environment. Okay. Does this make sense? I hope. Okay, so he then went on to say that like societal collapse and failure is typically due to one of two things. One, the inability of a society to adapt this system that they've developed, okay, this socio-cultural system to new realities. So if you can't adapt, if like your environment changes but you don't adapt, your society is probably going to perish. Okay. Correct, Mithril. Man is a product of his surroundings, 100%. Okay. And other folks may have heard of this as called environmental determinism. He was somewhat of an environmental determinist. Okay. So if a society can't adapt their all aspects of the society to like a change in the environment or a change in how people think about things, it'll fail eventually. And the second way a society fails, I mean, partially. I think the Jeremy Diamond, the guy that wrote Gun, Germs, and Steel, may have been partially inspired by Marvin Harris, but not fully. But yes, you're right, Malzord. That's an environmentally determinist view. Jared Diamond. Okay. The other thing he said was would result in the failure of society is developing practices that were not sustainable. So, like, if your cultural practices are destroying your environment, well, you got a problem there because all your cultural practices spring out of the environment, right? Um, okay. So this is right in your groove, absolutely. Okay, about that. All right. And so here's now where we get into what this theory says. Okay, so those are his general views. He proposed a way to look at societies by breaking them into three tiers. Okay, here it is. Um, all right. So at the bottom of any society or culture is an environment. This is the non-human aspect of any society or a culture, right? If you live in Saudi Arabia, you have a very arid environment has a desert. There are only certain kinds of plants that grow there. There are only certain kinds of animals that thrive there. Fox Emblem, you're not wrong at all. You're not wrong at all. Okay. There are certain the environment is very important, right? Or if you're an Inuit, which is a First Nations people who live in very cold, snowy environments far up north, you're going to have to build a culture out of that very cold environment that has a very specific climate, a very specific flora and fauna and things like that. Okay. So that's the environment. That is at the base of everything. Okay. And society builds out of that. So if your environment changes, you're going to start having issues, right? Because everything comes out of the environment. All right. Okay. So that's the very base is the environment. Out of the environment, you start to see this is where humans get involved. You see something called the infrastructure, which is how uh, how uh, how do human beings then take their environment uh, and and get out of it food, water, energy, and things like that. Okay, so that's the infrastructure, the ways that humans then exploit the environment to survive. All right, so for example, if farming might be a way you exploit your environment. That is a human thing, but that would be how you get the stuff out of the environment. Mining might be one when you do to get resources out of the environment. You might be mining, okay? And it depends on your environment, right? Like, so for example, I mentioned the Inuits who live in a very snowy Arctic slash subarctic environment, they're not going to be able to survive based off of agriculture. So they do a lot of fishing, for example. Okay. That's how they get food out of their environment. They do a lot of fishing. All right. I'm going to go more into this. I'm just giving you a general thing here. Infrastructure also includes population and how people reproduce. So that I don't confuse you, just know the infrastructure is how human societies take resources out of their environment, okay? And the technology they have to do this. The next level above infrastructure is structure. So you have infrastructure, structure, and then at the top you have superstructure. And structure, also called social structure, is power relations. Okay. After those resources have been taken out of the environment, how are they distributed amongst people? How do what kind of government is there? Who decides where those resources go? Okay. Uh so structure again is then like how you organize your society on top of the infrastructure, right? Like you can do farming, but then who decides what happens with the stuff you produce? Okay, does that make sense? So that is structure. And then at the very top here is the superstructure. And the superstructure is all basically in your heads. Those are the ideas, ideals, beliefs, and values that people have to make sense of the world around them. Okay, so so again, infrastructure at the bottom and structure right above it are both about what people do, their behaviors. Superstructure is about what is in their minds. What do they believe about their environment? What do they believe about their society? What do they think? How do they view the world? Now, okay, Carlitos asked a good question here. Does he really view it as all things interacting like you have the arrows, or did he view it as more one directional? Carlitos, you're outsmarting me here. So he would say it is so okay, let me take a step back. He thought that all these things influenced each other. However, he believed that the most important and powerful influence was from the top to the bottom. So if your environment, for example, changes, that's going to have a much bigger effect on your society than if your superstructure changes. So if your ideas change, that's not going to affect it as much as if your environment changes or if your infrastructure changes or if your structure changes. So although this is accurate in that it shows that he believed all these things could have kind of an interaction with each other, he was mainly focused on the idea of it can go upwards. That it's more important from bottom to top. Okay, does that make sense? Um, okay, so going along with what Carlito said, all these things influence each other, right? And if these things aren't lined up nicely, you're going to have some issues in your society. Okay, you're going to have some big issues in your society. All right. So let's go in a little more depth here. And I promise you, I know I'm just throwing a lot at you. This is relevant to all of us today. Okay, obviously. All right. So let's talk about infrastructure. So this is the lowest level, obviously, right above environment. Okay. There are two kinds of infrastructure. There is the mode of production, which is the technology and social practices that a society uses to draw energy and raw materials from the environment. Okay. So we still live in a largely agricultural society in that we get most of our food from agriculture, farming, and ranching and things like that. And then, okay, by the way, computers are a form of technology, and that is a resource we can now exploit, which is information, which we have on the internet. Okay, so right, Fox Emblem, I know what infrastructure. Okay, so modes of production, and this applies to any kind of society on Earth. You have hunter-gatherer modes of production. You have exactly. Good. Yes, Meowsword. Okay. You have civilizational modes of production or agricultural modes of production. So these are how you get. There you go, Doug. Partially, Doug. Okay. So that is one part of infrastructure. The other part of infrastructure is what he called modes of reproduction, which is the demographic factors of human population. So how many people are in the society? How dense is the society? How fast is it growing? What are the age and sex characteristics of the society? Because this is to him part of the infrastructure, because it's not only about how many resources you have and that you're exploiting, you need a certain number of people to do that to reach certain things. So another important part of infrastructure is your population. How many people do you have? What are their ages? Okay, things like that. So those are the two things that make up the infrastructure. And again, if either one of these things drastically change, it'll have a major impact on your society. So if you change the way you exploit the environment for resources, you're going to have a big change higher up the ladder. And if you suddenly lose a bunch of people, lose a bunch of your population, you're also going to have a big change in the way things happen, right? So that's infrastructure. Hello, Elaine. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's infrastructure. Again, bear with me. The next level is structure. Meowsard, you're not wrong, okay? There are two parts. For those out there who are Marxists, you'll notice this is almost like um, a dichotomy here. Not a dichotomy, oh my God, I'm having a mind blank. Dialectic, okay? They don't need you don't need to know. Yes, it is, Leland, I fixed it. You don't need to know what that means, but for the Marxists out there, you'll know what that means. Okay, anyway. So, so then you have structure. And he said that there are two parts to structure. There is the domestic structure or economy, which is how do people organize um, uh, within domestic settings, so within a household. For example, remember, this is about power structure. So are you patriarchal? Do you have a male head of house who determines, there you go, Fox. I mean, do you have a male head of house who determines where resources go in the house? How do children figure into that? What is the culture inside the house that inside of like the home or the community that dictates how goods are allocated to people? Who has the power to make those decisions? Okay, like in hunter gatherers, it's more egalitarian. All right. So that's the domestic economy or the domestic structure. And then you have the political economy or structure, which is also part of structure. Okay. That consists of like the groups and organizations that perform the function of regulating what gets produced, regulates reproduction, regulates exchanging things, and regulates all of that and decides where goods go and things like that. Okay. This is a government, okay, or a hierarchy or classes. Okay. Because if your political economy is a situation where you have a bunch of wealthy people who are exploiting everyone else, that is a political economy. That is where you as a society have decided that the ultra wealthy should get most of the goods produced, and everyone else we just get to be trickled down upon. Okay, like piss. Okay, so this is where class comes in. Class is a function of political economy. It is a function of the government. And if you were in a communist society, the political economy would be equal across the board, right? In a capitalist society, you have owners of businesses, and then you have the bourgeoisie, so the owners, and then you have the workers. So that is structure. All of that stuff goes into structure. How people organize, where resources go in the society. All right. Okay. Lastly, and again, almost done with the explanation here. I know I'm kind of rambling. Is the superstructure. There are so that remember, we've now entered the realm of how people view the world. So out of the infrastructure and out of the structure come how people view the world. There are two parts to this. One is the behavioral things that they do. So this includes things like recreational activities, art, sports, empirical knowledge, folklore, aesthetic productions like, art and things like that, uh, music, dance, literature, rituals, advertising. Okay, you get the point here. Things that we do in a society that may not be directly linked to the structure or the infrastructure, but that we do nonetheless. Okay. But that we actually do. Then you have the other part of the superstructure, which is the mental part, which is the patterned ways the members of a society think, conceptualize, and evaluate their behavior. All right. So, like the values a society holds, how they view the world, how they conceive of things. All right. What we're doing now is an exercise of mental superstructure, right? We are doing a mental superstructural analysis The whole idea of cultural materialism is part of a mental superstructure, right? Because it's a way of reviewing the world. All right. And to Marvin Harris, the superstructure is the least important part of all of this. The superstructure typically reinforces the structure and infrastructure of a society. Okay. So, for example, well, I'll get into it, but for example, if you live in a capitalist society, it's very beneficial to the elites that make up the structure to make you believe that hard work is all that matters, that someday you'll get rich and things like that. Do you see what I mean? That is a superstructural belief that reinforces the power structure of the structure. Again, I know a lot of structures out here, okay? So these conceptions of the world reinforce how the society operates, in the structure and the infrastructure. And the behaviors you engage in also reinforce these things. For example, a marriage. When you get married, women are often dressed in white and things like that, which reinforce the structure of patriarchy and things like that. All right. Is everyone following along here? We will get now into some examples that'll make this make more sense. Everyone good? Okay. Um, I know I'm using the word structure a lot. Okay. All right. So let's give an example here. Let's give a thank you, Meowsor. Thank you, Doug on the left. You all know, folks, I love feedback because I'm used to it in a classroom. So thank you, guys. Okay. So let's apply this to a cultural practice. Okay. Let's talk about cows, specifically cows in India. All right. So in India, for many people there, cows are sacred. They're almost like worshipped like gods. And there are many taboos in India against eating cows. Okay, it is it. So what part of that of of the structure that Marvin Harris developed, what part of that would that belief about cows be part of? Would that be infrastructure, structure, or superstructure? That belief about cows. Thank you so much, Matt Guy. Okay, I'm gonna put on the jester hat. Thank you, Matt Guy. Excellent, Alyssa. Thank you. Yes. So that would be a superstructural belief. Okay. Oh, pizza, you're getting there. Okay. All right. So you guys are all right. I'm not going to say what some of you said because I want to steal the thunder, but yes, you're all right. Okay. So that is a superstructural belief. Okay. And based off Harris's theory, we would then expect that that somehow reinforces some other, either the structure or the superstructure of the society, right? Okay. So let's take a look here. What are some of the benefits of cows? You can use them for four things. I'm sure we could think of others, right? But overall, you can use cows for four things. You can use them for meat. You can slaughter them and you can eat them. You can use them for milk. You can use them for traction. You can use their power in order to till fields and things like that. And you can use their manure for fertilizer. So why then have people in India decided to sacrifice the use of cows of meat? Okay. Uh okay. Um this is why. All right. This according to Marvin Harris. So if we look at the infrastructure of Indian society, we would see that parts of India have long had a very large and dense population that relies on agricultural production to feed itself. Okay. There's a lot of people in India, and there has been for a very long time, going back thousands of years. Okay. There's a lot of river valleys and stuff there that are great for producing grains of different kinds. So that's the infrastructure of India. And then the structure of Indian society, going back a long time, has been that rulers and elites have relied on surplus agricultural production to fund themselves, their militaries, and ensure their dominion over society, as well as protect the society from outsiders. Okay. So, knowing those two things and thinking about the superstructural belief of cows, we can guess that this is the case. All right. Cows are sacred. They should not be eaten because the benefits of using cows for milk, okay, traction, and fertilizer outweigh the costs of not eating them. Okay. So that belief, I can assure, yeah, Matt Saiga, you're not wrong. India is now like in the top 5 countries in the world for beef exports. Okay. But that superstructural belief still holds true, and for a lot of especially Hindus. Okay. And so the idea here being that you can imagine that at some point back in time, someone is like generations ago was like, oh my God, cows are super important. Okay. They're very useful. And maybe that person said to their children, you got to be careful with cows. They're super important to our agriculture. And then maybe that child told their child, oh, cows, don't hurt the cows. They're holy, right? You cannot hurt the cows. They're super important. They're holy. And then maybe that child told their child, they are gods, and we should show them great respect and worship them. Okay. Um, no, Matt Saigai. I know you just came in here, Matt Saigai, but that is the point of this theory, is that these superstructural beliefs come out of things having to do with the economy and things like that. Okay. So for people in Indian society today, they that this is irrelevant to them, right? They will to them it is a religious belief. But if we look at the origins of the cultural belief, you can see where it comes from. Okay. All right. Let's let us go on to a different example here. All right. Uh the idea of heaven, of there being a heaven. Okay. Okay. Again, as Matt Saigai actually rightfully pointed out, do you feel that like that is dependent on a pre-societal religious manifestation? In other words, do you believe these will manifest as a sacred value in the future? Meowsword. So this is debated. Um, okay. This is debated. Okay. So there are some theories that say that over time, when it's not when the cultural value is no longer necessary, it will slowly disappear. But there's also beliefs that say that no, a lot of times these things become established and then you can't really change them because they become self-reinforcing. I don't know is the answer, Meowsord. I don't know. We have seen though, like in a lot of societies that yeah, over time a lot of these older cultural values disappear, but again, it depends. Doug on the left. My understanding is Hindu belief is that the cow is the best reincarnation you can get, and that's why they don't mess with them. But that's my point, Doug, right? Superstructural beliefs are separate from the original functional reason for that belief, right? So superstructural beliefs justify the practice because that ensures the societal stability, and originally it had benefits for the society. Okay. So if that makes sense. Okay. Let's go on now to another example. The idea of heaven. This is mainly a Christian idea, okay? Yes, I'm sure we could find other examples of this, okay? So let's talk about this. And again, folks, this is just a theory. Yes, Jay Shadow. As a matter of fact, Jay Shadow says similar to pork being forbidden in some religions, but it's honestly because of trichinosis. As a matter of fact, Jay Shadow, Marvin Harris in his book, his book was titled Cows, Pigs, and Witches, and he talks about pigs, which are demonized in a lot of cultures because they're not easy to raise. There's a bunch of negative things that comes along with trying to raise pigs. So yeah, there's another example of that. That prohibition on pork is a very ancient thing. Okay. All right. Let's now look at heaven. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Heaven. What are some of the effects, the superstructural effects of a belief in a heaven? We could even add hell to that. And the belief of an afterlife like heaven or hell, okay? One, okay, is if you believe in a heaven, there's sort of this, it lessens the fear of death, does it not? Because if you're going to die, it's kind of a scary thought, and it lessens the fear of death. Another thing does is that it also can somewhat make people care less about the here and now. Sometimes it makes them care more, sometimes it makes them care less. We could debate that, right? Um, because if you're suffering right now, it doesn't really matter because you'll end up in eternal glory and happiness, right? Okay. And it lasts. So what this does is it makes people behave in certain ways. We can all agree though, right? Like the idea of heaven, in theory, would make people behave in certain ways because you want to get to heaven, right? Okay. So why is there this idea of a heaven? Okay. So let us take a look at uh, the infrastructure and structure, as always. Okay. One, the idea of heaven developed in an ancient civilization. By the way, it actually developed in several civilizations, including like the Mesopotamians and then later Christians and things like that. Okay. The idea of heaven developed in an agricultural civilization where people had to labor in very hard conditions to produce enough food to survive, and death and disease were rampant. Okay. So, one of the things that may help is giving hope to people, right? You don't have to fear death as much. You are not going to live very long in these societies. You're not going to be, and if you're too fearful of death, you're not going to be working as hard. Okay. And the children are dying all the time, things like that. Okay. And you have to labor really hard. Okay. Let me move on. Structure. In these societies where the idea of heaven developed, political rulers and elites and class structures relied on surplus agricultural production to fund themselves and their domination over society, while also preserving their status as elites. And I even put it in here that capitalist modes of production are similar to this, right? So, uh, the idea of heaven is kind of useful for elites because it doesn't matter if you're a slave suffering terribly under these conditions. It doesn't matter if you're an agricultural laborer who has very little access to any food because it's all going to the elites. All that matters is that you behave well, and eventually you'll have eternal pleasure and joy in heaven. So don't worry about your here and now. Don't worry about the abuses being done to you. Don't worry about your suffering. As a matter of fact, in a lot of views of heaven, especially Christian ones, the suffering is a good thing. What I mean that is that like the more you're like Jesus having suffered and things like that, it's more likely you will go to heaven. Now I know, folks, for those who are much more theologically minded than I am way oversimplifying that. Um, but you see what I mean? Yeah, Doug, you're right. Hell also has a major social control effect. Not only is if you go to, don't worry about your suffering here and now. Don't worry about the death and destruction that's going on around you. It doesn't matter because but if you do go against the elites or go against these things, you're going to go burn in hell forever, right? So it's like the carrot and the stick. All right. So we could theorize that the idea of heaven, which again, people don't think about these things when they think of heaven, right? Because the superstructure is separate. It is a way of thinking about it. It has nothing to do with where it came from. It is sort of a mechanism of control. You could look at it that way. Does this make sense? So uh, that is what that is. Um, yeah, no, you're Carlitos. That is the yeah, totally, Matt Saigai. And same with the caste system, Matt Saigai, which I know has to do with karma. The caste system also reinforced these hierarchies and structures, right? Like it doesn't matter what position you are in it doesn't matter if you're a Brahmin. Forgive me, I don't know I don't know the words here, but like if you're an untouchable or like whatever it may be, as long as you stick to your role and do what your role entails, in the next life you may move up the ladder and become, and so very similar. All right. I will say this. Who was it that just said this? Uh, who said that? I'm sorry. Someone made a really good comment here. If you did veganism following his logic, we would all be eating plants to preserve the environment, climate change, etc. Correct, Carlitos. And Carlitos, again, you're very bright. Okay. There are major critiques of this, and we could talk about them. Okay, I agree, Carlitos. There are parts of it that are too deterministic. It kind of goes back to what Meowsword said. So does that mean that once a cultural belief is no longer functional, it disappears? It doesn't. So if that's the case, then how do we know? You see what I mean? Like It is. This is why it is not perfect, and this is why, like, where there's not really a Darwinist view of these. There's not really like an Darwinist theory that is all encapsulating for this. But this is the closest, in my opinion, that anthropology has got to it. Um, and it has been built upon since he was here. Okay, Joshua, is this why wealthy religious people don't really care as much? Joshua, Joshua. I would say you're not wrong. Joshua, have you ever heard of the prosperity gospel? A lot of wealthy evangelical Protestants have developed this idea that the wealth you have is because you are holy and God has granted you that wealth because you're a just good person. Um, which is interesting, uh, because it's sort of there you go. Okay, so that reinforces the power structure, doesn't it? So uh a lot of elites, not all of them, and this is why it's not perfect, who do hold those evangelical Protestant fundamentalist views, have built a superstructural belief that wealth must mean they're good. Okay. You're much less likely to see that in like Catholic Latin American societies where there's still an emphasis on like the poor being people who need to be helped and things like that. Like lower income people are less likely to believe those things about the money. Okay. You see what I mean? All right. So, okay. Uh, all right, guys. So, Carlitos, think that I liked the hello, Miro. Okay. So, do we see totally Malzord, totally that totally. Dave Ramsey said he owned 9 properties because he was managing God's money. Oh my God, right? And you know what? Like, and this is how new cultural beliefs come into being. That those beliefs are very influential now, folks, on the fundamentalist evangelical Christian right. Okay, you can imagine how these things come about. Some elite starts justifying it. Let me give you another example, okay? The pharaohs of ancient Egypt, okay? For those who know anything about ancient Egypt, you know that uh, um, at least later in history, there was a belief that the pharaohs, the rulers of ancient Egypt, were gods on earth. That is not how it started originally. We know that the word pharaoh basically means great house. So the person who originally ruled Egypt was the wealthiest and most powerful amongst a group of great families. Therefore, they were the great house. It was only later that suddenly in the archaeological record, by the way, they're not just the great house, they're also a god. Uh, which it makes you wonder, someone over time, in order to ensure social stability and prevent sort of inter fighting between these various houses, this cultural belief came about that the pharaoh was a god in order to exhibit social control. Okay, again, this is oversimplified, as Carlitos brilliantly pointed out, but and it doesn't really work. This is the issue, though; it doesn't necessarily work with everything. Okay, and this does not account. One of the issues with Marvin Harris's theory is it does not account for cultures within cultures a lot of the time. Okay, like within the United States, for example, there's lots of subcultures, and things like that. And so, but okay, does that make sense? Okay, um, okay. Now, and by the way, folks, for those out there who do believe in like heaven and hell and things like that, this is a theory, right? This is the theory that he came up with. Those were some examples he used. Um, uh, we could think of things that doesn't mean that your beliefs aren't true. I'm just saying you can see how, from his materialist perspective, he's working backwards, right? He's like, okay, where did this belief come from? Well, let's look at the structure and the infrastructure. That is actually another critique you could have of this is that he looks backwards trying to find an explanation, right? Which in a lot of cases you'll be able to find one whether it's fully true or not, okay? Um, okay. So, uh, all right. This next page here. So I forgot this page here, but heaven exists as long as you act well. Your suffering in the world will be rewarded by an infinity of joy and contentment in the next life. Accept your suffering and be obedient to the rules and regulations of your society. Okay, all right. Lastly, I want to see if we can think of any other examples from our own societies and maybe talk about where these things come from. I already mentioned the idea of like hard work gets you ahead. You'll become rich if you work hard. Um, do we have any other examples here? You believe in the existence of unicorns, Matt Guy? Oh, that's cute, Matt Guy. Okay. Please watch your step and maintain the superstructure. Okay. Okay. What other examples do we have of this in our society? Okay. What about this one? The belief that America is a democracy. It is a common superstructural belief. It is a belief that our system is a democratic system of government. Okay. Now, if we look at the structure, we can automatically see that it is very undemocratic, right? But we have that cultural belief that it is a democracy. Okay. Um, that is so cool, Alan. Oh, I'm glad that sociology classes are talking about that. Okay. Um, okay. So there's that. Okay. And remember, that's one example. What about? I'm trying to think of other examples from our societies here. What about the belief in the king and the queen over in the UK? Now, I know a lot of folks in the UK do not like the monarchy, okay? But that is a superstructural belief, the idea that structurally it doesn't make much sense that the king doesn't have much power at all. But maybe we could talk about that. There's other things we could talk about. Cancel culture, Carlitos. Okay, cancel culture. Great, Carlitos. So, the idea of like cancel culture, we could think about how that reinforces the structure of a society, right? I'm okay. So again, um, totally Meowzord. They always have Meowzord. They always have. Um, yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh, absolutely, pizza. And how does that? They reinforce social norms, right? Carlitos says, "I'm sorry, I lost track of what you said there, Carlitos." But yeah, pizza. Yeah. Okay. Remember, Dare, the belief that drugs. Um. No. Hey, I know Matt's like I know it's a constitutional monarchy, but like the fact that the monarchy still exists, but it's like it doesn't really work. It doesn't do much. It's very symbolic. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Dare, yes, pizza. The idea that drugs automatically make you a sleazeball creep was a widely held belief. How does the hatred of drugs, this is a good one. How does the hatred of drugs reinforce the social structure and, I mean, I'm sorry, the structure and infrastructure of a society? I'll tell you. Okay. You're going to have trouble exploiting people's labor if they're high. That's one thing. Also, there are many drugs that actually open people's minds and make them think differently, which is also dangerous for the elites. And also, for when it comes to infrastructure, if everyone is high all the time, they're not going to be able to work. Okay. Like literally, if you're blasted all the time, are you going to be able to get resources out of the environment? Okay. So, again, those are two levels of the belief. Now I'm generalizing here. Yep, you're right, Meowzord. Drugs make people not act according to the rules. Um, yeah, and Joshua, it can do a lot of damage. But when it comes to why it affects a society, yeah, totally, Alan. Okay, correct, Doug. Absolutely. Okay. Um, and by the way, folks, I will say drugs are very bad. I mean, my belief on this, like there are certain drugs that I don't think should be legal. I'm just throwing that out there, like fentanyl and things like that, obviously, because they just kill people, etc. But if we look, and this does not mean we can't have personal views on these things, right? But we're talking about big picture structural things, okay? Doug, poverty is a lack of character. 100%, Doug. How does that superstructural belief reinforce things in our society? It makes it so that the elites can blame people who don't have money even though it's the structure that they are the head of that is causing that poverty. Okay. Um, all right. Yep, homelessness as a moral failing, okay? Jay Shadow, no, you're right. It was very helpful in healthcare, but I mean, like, I shouldn't say ban it, but like fight against it being out there in the world and people getting addicted to it. And other drugs too, which can be very harmful to people. Methamphetamine is disastrous. But again, the reason that our society doesn't like that, there are many reasons for it. Okay. Uh, okay. All right. Okay, guys. So again, we're talking about Marvin Harris, okay? This is one theory. We can always quibble, of course, about in because of course a theory is only as good as the individual examples that it can explain. And this is not a perfect theory. Uh and so just realize that everything I've said to you here, think about it for yourself, okay? Um, because I'm sure you can think of some things that this might not really follow through on. But it is a very interesting theory. And oftentimes you will hear me, for example, on Friday when I'm talking about Japan, you may hear me use words like superstructural, structural, and infrastructural. Okay. I'll try to not do that to make it more clear, but okay. All right. Also, one other thing that Marvin Harris said about this is that when a society fails to adapt, okay, when it fails to change its infrastructure, structure, or superstructure in response to environmental changes or response to like structural changes or even superstructural changes, you're going to start having issues and instability. So, for example, okay, and this can be used to explain things like revolution. So, for the American Revolution, for example, we could talk about how there was a new set of ideologies, superstructural beliefs coming into the 13 colonies in regards to the Enlightenment, and it did not line up with the structure of Britain. And we can also talk about how some Britain was starting to be anti-slavery, which did not coincide with the structure of of colonial America, and without repairing either the superstructure or the structure, you're going to eventually have a societal collapse of some sort. Okay. And by the way, if you destroy your environment, you're going to have a societal collapse. Because unless you change your culture all the way up and down, if your environment changes, you're fucked. Okay. Climate change. Okay. We all get it. We all get it. Good, 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 good. Okay. Cultural lag, right, Alan? Okay. So that is my presentation on that. Um, so back to my face. Look at that transition. That was a sexy transition. Well, if my face would come up, that'd be nice. Oh, come on, face. Where'd you go, face? There it is. Okay. So, there you go. That is my presentation on cultural materialism. I find myself thinking about it a lot. It's also just a good way to organize how you think about society, even if you don't get into how he applied it to different cultural things. It's a good way to sort of analyze different things in a society and understand how they're all interrelated and they all affect each other. Okay. I can give you another example here, folks. The invention of the internet. Have we seen that would be an infrastructural development, okay, which means it's very low down and therefore very important of a change. Have we seen some societal instability caused by the invention of the internet and the inability of the structure and superstructure to adapt to it? I suspect we have. Okay. Remember we talked about the printing press. That is a technology. Um, uh, okay. So that would be an example. Remember, the printing press was a technology that came about, and the superstructure and structure didn't change very fast. And there was societal instability. Okay. All right, guys. All here, probably. All everywhere? I don't think so. Um, oh, are you referring to what are you referring to, Doug? Uh, how does it work on everywhere? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Okay. So the structure of our infrastructure is structurally flawed, and we therefore cause a structural collapse of our infrastructure. Jay Shadow, that was well phrased. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. That was good. Okay. So again, folks, just something to think about. There are other theories in anthropology that approach it differently and are also very useful. I could even talk about postmodernist views. I hate postmodernism, but there are some useful aspects of it that this does not cover. This is just one interesting way of viewing societies and culture and things like that. Okay. And it is very deterministic, environmentally deterministic. All right. Okay. Folks, I got some other stuff to talk about. Okay. Um, uh, well, Meowzord, excellent question. At what level of analysis of society do you think personally is the most optimal to maintain society, long term and individual? Structural, Meowzord. I would say structural, because there's only so much you can do at the infrastructural level without new technology and things like that. So the structural level is where you need to figure out how to distribute those resources, how to give everyone the best quality of life and things like that, which is why I'm a socialist, partially. Because I think structural ideas are what we have the most influence over. Um, okay, in my opinion. Okay, so what else are we going to talk about here, folks? That's a very good question, Meowzord. Okay. So by the way, folks, we got one super chat. So I got the jester hat on. If we get two more, I'll put on the jester collar. And then if we get to five, I will put on the jester makeup. If we get to 10, I will do a jester after dark tonight. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's go on now to something else I wanted to talk about. I have some things that were sent to me. By the way, first of all, I'm sorry. Let me do a little self promotion here. For those who came in later, I just published a video, a new reaction video with my father. It's on my YouTube channel. Uh, it's a thank you, Malzord. It is a reaction to that video from Dan. Um, McClellan. Thank you, Doug, so much for recommending it. And my dad and I have some disagreements about religion, so we do get into it a little bit. It's kind of interesting. But go watch that if you'd like to. And please help me get engagement on the video. Please help me get engagement. I'm worried everyone's going to dislike it because I'm in there bad mouthing certain things. I don't want to scare away everyone. Okay, anyway. Okay. So also, if you're over there on Twitch, please follow me or you can also subscribe and you can use your Amazon Prime for free to subscribe to me, which will give me Jeff Bezos's money, and I'd highly appreciate it. Also, you can send me 200 bits. If you send me 200 bits, it'll count towards our super chat goal. Okay. Yep, Matt Guy, they are. What is Jester After Dark? Oh, Dubois, Dubois, Dubois. Jester After Dark is when I come on later in the evening, and we kind of have a very casual, and we talk about kind of some fun things. We may listen to music. We may talk about some personal things that are more personal. Okay, but it's a good time, and I recommend if we do get to that, I recommend everyone join. Okay, yes, Matt Guy. SCOTUS is looking at undoing. Um, no, Jay Shadow, I don't know which one to start with. Maybe you could recommend one to start with. That's actually my next goal, Jay Shadow, is to do one of the oversimplified videos with my dad. We might actually do it later this week, but I haven't looked to see which one to do yet. Yeah, so Matt Guy, SCOTUS is looking at undoing conversion therapy bans, which is child abuse, obviously. Also, I don't know if you guys heard, but the military and a lot of government agencies have banned will do Jay Shadow have banned having gay pride flags in government offices. Now, folks, for the LGBTQ folks out there, let me put it this for everyone out there, it might seem like a small thing to ban a rainbow flag, but you have to understand, okay, people who are gay or LGBTQ, they don't have a way of knowing when there's other LGBTQ people around them. So if you have a pride flag, that can often be very, very can make LGBTQ people feel much safer. I know in my experience, if I go into a building or something and I see someone with a LGBT, like a rainbow flag, I take a breath. I'm like, "Oh, thank God." I know that sounds like, that is a bit I'm over exaggerating the importance of it, but I'm not, okay? And when a lot of scenarios where, where gay people, LGBT feel unsafe, something as small as seeing that flag can make you feel safer, okay? Um, and so, just think about that. The banning of that flag is not just about banning a flag, it is also preventing LGBTQ people from feeling safe, and making it so that, you know, they can't express themselves and they don't know if there's any allies around, okay? Just something to think about, okay? All right. Okay. So what I want to do now, folks, I have some things. Um, Yo, 100%, Joshua, 100%. Okay. The right is so soft. Rainbow flags hurt their feelings. Totally, Alan. Like, what babies, right? Like, oh my God, my pearls. There's a rainbow flag. Oh, like, cause like, calm down, bro. It's okay. It's okay. I know you're up in your fifis. It's okay. All right. I know bright colors scary. Uh, right. Okay, but then of course also, Alan, uh they will they will like have a little fit if you try to get rid of like a Confederate flag or something. Then they'll also have a fit. Oh my God, you're taking my Confederate flag away. Like Jesus Christ, calm down. Okay. Lee Lane, 100% Lee Lane. I am not exaggerating the importance of that flag in public places. Lee Lane, I wear my pride hat every time I work a weekend game at the ballparks. So many people frequent my concession stand just because of that hat. Lee Lane, 100%. I used to have a pride flag in one of my classrooms. Now, some of you know the story of someone actually tried to catch it on fire and burn it. Okay. That's a different story. But because I had this flag in my in my classroom, I would have students come to me who were LGBTQ and share with things with me that they would have not normally shared. Sometimes things that were very vital to their lives, including things like I'm thinking of hurting myself. Because just by seeing that flag, they felt more comfortable talking to me, even if they didn't know I was gay. You could be an ally and have that flag, okay? I know again, it sounds like I'm being weird about like just this tiny little symbol, but it really does mean a lot because it is not like a race thing, right? Like if you're a black person, you can see if there are other black people nearby. You cannot necessarily do that if you're gay or trans or whatever it may be. Um, oh, right, Demosthenes, right. Okay, those who get offended by that flag are scared of the questions. Yep, the questions it raises in themselves, which they're not emotionally developed enough to handle. Oh, 100%, 100%. Um, yep. Oh, Alyssa, you're not wrong, Alyssa. Private schools are even worse. Right, Meowsor, checkmate. Just co-opt the Confederate flag. Um, yeah, exactly, Dolly Boy. It really does mean a lot. I'm not just saying that as a gay man. It's also my experience as a teacher and seeing how LGBTQ students react to seeing it. Folks, I uh I I cannot tell you. I have seen students come in to my classroom looking very down. They turn and see the flag and then they get this big smile on their face. Like there is nothing more joyful to see a child smiling and actually having some relief in their face, okay? Like, I'm not exaggerating. Okay, anyway. Um, yeah, I agree, Joshua, okay? My gaydar has never been wrong, though. Hey, Jay Shadow, mine has. Okay. All right. So, um, I wanted to also talk really fast here about, um, uh, uh, let me pull it up here. So there are some things. Yeah, it is, Alyssa. It is. Okay. All right. I have some videos recommended for us to watch. I'm gonna pull up some of these. I think I said in the title that we were gonna talk about, what's her face appearing before the Senate. I think that's still going on. Maybe we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I don't honestly don't care that much right now. But anyway, let me overlay scene here. Okay. So, we got some things to react to. And Yeah, exactly, Mouser. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, then we won't even look at it. I honestly, folks, I put that in there because I thought it might get more viewers in here. I'm just being honest with you because a lot of times folks want to see the live or want to hear about the live stuff going on. And I was thinking we might watch a little bit, but I'm thinking I don't really want to. Yeah, Joshua. Okay. Yeah, Joshua. Pam Bondi. Okay. So this, I believe, was sent to me by Alan. I'm not, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know who sent this to me. This is Mehdi Hassan, um, talking about something. I don't know. We will find out. Thank you, Alan. Okay, we will see what he has to say here. Um, Excuse me, fan. I'm gonna put on the fan. I'm getting very hot because I have my door open so I can hear the rain. Give me a second. All right, guys. Okay, so let's see what Mehdi Hassan here. Love Mehdi Hassan. You all know this. I love Mehdi Hassan. Again, folks, if we get, I think we gotten one super chat today. Let's get some more, folks. Let's get some more. Damn it. Okay, just kidding. If we get two more, I will put on the gesture collar. And again, as I said before. All right. So, also, I forgot to mention this. If you'd like to send me some money, you can also do it via this QR code right next to my face on the screen. Just put your phone up there, and then put a coffee emoji in the chat. I will read it, and that'll count towards our goal. Okay. All right. I know. I'm sorry. I'm rude. I'm like begging for money here. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at what Mehdi Hassan has to say. God, I hope the situation in Israel. Well, I'm losing hope, but anyway.
The moral clarity on Gaza is obviously much needed. From a practical point of view, if we go back to we're sitting in a gathering of Democrats, organizers, party activists, messengers, pollsters. What is the practical message? What is the most pragmatic, dare I bring up the P word, what is the most pragmatic thing a centrist,
Please do, Trump
cautious Democrat, worried about being targeted by AIPAC, worried about getting accused of being anti-Semitic, what could they say, Adam? What would be the basic message that they could give out there that would resonate with Americans?
I think the best basic message they could get is to resign because they've been funding a genocidal state, my opinion.
And it would be very easy to do on this issue.
Fuck them. Look, I grew up Republican. I grew up in a very Reagan Republican family, and then, I was exposed to other viewpoints. It was like, maybe Ronald Reagan isn't right about everything. You're never going to out-Republican a Republican. And even in my race, I have Republicans in my district that are like, I don't know if I agree with everything you believe in, but I do think you actually believe in it, and I don't think most of our leaders do. If you're actually horrified by something, if you actually believe in something, that's what voters want to see. No more of this half-measure nonsense.
The moral clarity.
Okay, I 100% agree with that. Fuck them. If we lived in a just society, okay, I'm not going to relive the Hague conversation from tomorrow, but if we lived in a just society, you all know what I'm going to say there. Matt Saga, don't worry, I won't say it out loud, okay? Okay, very good. Thank you, Alan. Totally agree with that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay. Oh, I did wanna watch this. This is about, we might not get through the whole thing. I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna do a poll here, folks. There is a lot of discussion that goes on between the idea. Um, Cat went on MSNBC. Is that so? I thought I pulled that one up, Alan. I thought I had pulled that one up for us to see. Did you sent that to me, right, Alan? Okay. Cat also just went on MSNBC and said that Christy Nome should be tried at The Hague. Oh my God, very true. Oh my God, I love that woman. Okay, I'm gonna become straight. Okay. Anyway, so here now in your groove, yes, now in your groove, you're right. Folks, there was someone today found guilty in The Hague. Remember what I've said before, though, and he, by the way, he deserved it. He deserved to be found guilty in The Hague. Someone here tell me, what do we think the color of his skin was? What do we think the color of the skin of this guy who was found guilty in The Hague was? I'm just being blunt about it. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think the color of this guy's skin was? I could just say it. I could just say it. I don't necessarily need anyone to say it out loud for me. He's black. Nope, Joshua. He's black. He is from Sudan. And remember what I said before, the issue here is, this guy totally deserved, I know, right? Um, Green, okay. The issue here, folks, is that, yes, that guy definitely deserved to be in The Hague. We need to apply The Hague's justice across the board, right? Most of the people that get tried and found guilty in The Hague and sentenced to sentences are black and brown people. Again, most of them deserve it, if not all of them deserve it. But we also need to get other people in The Hague, like George W. Bush and Vladimir Putin. And okay, so just a thought there. Again, I am very happy that guy got found guilty. He deserved it. But those are the ones they actually sentence. Exactly, Alyssa. So this is why I'm like, that's one of the issues with The Hague. I wish it were applied more universally. Alas, given how it's set up and stuff, and given power dynamics in the world, a lot of times the people who deserve it don't get put on trial. Okay. Anyway, so not to spoil it, because we should be celebrating. That guy definitely deserves to be in The Hague. Okay, he was responsible for genocidal behaviors in Sudan. But anyway, okay, all right. Let's go on here. Okay. All right. So let's go here to let's watch this. I'm gonna make a poll. What do we think here? Who here thinks? And if you don't know, that's fine. I'll make that an option. Who here thinks that believes in a two-state solution uh, in Gaza, in Palestine, or a one-state solution? Uh, okay. Um, Oop, where did I put this? Okay, so here we go. Alyssa, thank you so much. I just saw it, Alyssa. Thank you very much for the super chat. Now, I guess I'll yell at you more often, Alyssa. Thank you. Okay, let me. So I'll put up this poll. Start a poll. Um, how uh how should again, this is in theory, right? How should a Palestinian state uh be set up? Okay, that's kind of a flawed question. So the two options you have is one state solution, one state, two state, uh, or I guess no state, which I hope no one answers. Okay, or I don't know. There we go. I'm gonna just ask you all, because this is a very interesting debate. So start the poll. So let me know what you all think. I'm just curious what you think. For those that are interested in this topic, again, we are not the ones who get to decide this. The Palestinian people should be the one that's decide this. But just an interesting conversation, especially amongst lefties here. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. 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 Um, Let me just see what we're getting. Uh, okay, we're getting some good ones here. So let's watch a little bit of this. we'll watch a little bit of this while you guys are answering that question. Um, okay. So let me go over here. Oh my God, for some reason my computer's being weird. Give me a second. Okay. So let's start watching this and I'll see how this goes. This goes.
Playing into the hands of the occupation. Because everyone says two-state solution, but not now. As if time is not working, and time worked. And what was achievable 20 years ago is not achievable anymore. And I think, genuinely and frankly, that we should change the discourse and we should start to talk about one democracy between the river and the sea. Israel is controlling the whole land from the river to the sea. It is a one state. All the people.
Give me a second here, folks. I'm having some issues here, but I'm having some issue with my chat. Oh, Jews would be a minority. Tough luck. Yeah, I know, right, Carlitos? So give me 1 second here, folks. For some reason, I don't know why the YouTube chat is doing something weird for me. I'm having trouble actually seeing what the poll says. So here, okay. While I'm doing that, though, I just want to say there is some. Here's my thoughts on this. Okay. Um, my thoughts are as follows. As I'm trying to stall while I do this. Uh, I suspect it would be better to have a one-state solution, right? Because then you would have one state with Jewish people and Arab people treated equally under a constitution. Alas, I think that is will be pretty hard, if not impossible, to achieve at this point. So, because of that, I think two-state solution is better. But I would prefer a one-state solution. I just don't know if it's feasible. And given that I would like Palestine to be free, that might be the best we can manage, or that could be managed right now. Um, okay, there we go. I think I just fixed it. That's my opinion, but I do think that it is a good idea. Okay. All right. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, whatever. So, okay, one state, state, one s- one state, four capitals plus autonomous zone in Jerusalem. Okay, two states is bullshit. Never going to happen in reality. Even if it does, won't work out long term. Matt Saigai. So I will. Uh, again though, So Matt Saigai, I get that, right? Do you think that a one-state solution is gonna happen and it will be able to happen anytime soon? Uh, because the here's my issue. I think both one-state and two-state solutions are very problematic. Um, I don't know what's going on from fail with the chat here, but regardless, can you guys can still see me over on YouTube, right? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so because two state, I got you, man. So that's fair. We can talk about it in the Discord. Um, I, uh, I I will say Demosthenes. Demosthenes says, given past behavior and geolocation sizes, two-state may be a tough solution. That is true, Demosthenes. I will say this though, Demosthenes. Are you referring to like the size of those states? Um, I get it, Matt Guy. Oh, I see what you're saying, Matt Guy. Oh, that's based, Matt Guy. Okay. Um, possibly Dubois, possibly. Okay, I like that idea. Matt Guy here saying that. Well, I won't say Matt Guy. I know what you're saying though. I think that's based, Matt Guy. Okay. Um, right. Okay. So territory wise, so Demosthenes, I will say, the smallest country in the world is the Vatican City, and it is much smaller than Gaza or the West Bank, what's left of the West Bank, given that Israeli settlers have been slowly taking that land away. And so it could exist at very small. There is the issue, though, Demosthenes. I'm suspecting you mean that they're apart from each other. Yeah, that's a problem. Uh, okay. So this is an issue. Again, there's not really a perfect solution here. In an ideal world, I would say one state solution with equal rights for all. But we all know how Israel is. And to be honest, folks, would the Palestinians really want to be in a state with the Israelis at this point? I don't know. Um, okay. It's a very complex issue. So let's see what they say here. Okay.
Between the river and the sea in different times, in different ways, under the rule of Israel. We just have to change the regime. We have to turn it into a
Okay, sorry. There's a lot of good comments here. Meowzord, one state is cope for me because Palestinians will never be recognized as equal. Tel Aviv will be an ivory tower, and it'll just be full of loophole. I agree, Meowzord. That's why, like, there would be a lot that would have to change, I think, for a one-state solution to work. Now, there are other ways to achieve it, which, as Matt Saigai had said, that we can't talk about that on stream. But yeah, which I don't think that would ever happen anyway. But yeah, okay. Matt Saigai, we see what happens when we have a two-state solution. Just see the West Bank. Now, Matt Saigai, I'd say that's not fully true because there isn't a state, right? The Palestinians do not have a government. They do not have an independent state. So it, I'm not saying it would end well. I'm just saying we have not really tried this two-state solution with an actual state for the Palestinians. Hey, maybe, yeah, right, Meowzone, I don't know, right? See, it's like there's so many, I mean, okay, there you go, Robert. You know what Matt Saigai's talking about. Robert says, I mean, elephant in the room, why does Israel exist in the first place? Okay, folks. So here's the fee. Okay. When regards to that, um, I'm not saying it's never possible, Matt Saigai. I just don't see it as I don't see it as happening anytime soon. Tuesday. Okay. So most of you say Tuesday. And you're right, Matt. It's like in the future, I would like that. Here's the other thing, folks. Please forgive me for saying this. Okay. I'm going to drink a little bit so that I can lubricate my mouth. I do not believe in ethnic cleansing. Okay. Shocking. I know. There is an issue here. All right. For the idea that Israel shouldn't exist. That would be engaging in ethnic cleansing and I mean, in theory, I mean, if Israelis were to be pushed off what they already have there in certain parts, not in the whole country, I suspect that would be classified as ethnic cleansing. Um, I am not saying that. Do you see what I'm saying? Um, because I know Matt Saigai. That's my thought. See, Matt Saigai, though, right? Uh, Because I don't believe in any kind of ethnic cleansing. A lot of Israelis have lived there for years, and it is not their fault individually that they are there. I think that's just a fact here. Again, I am saying, no, Matt Sagai though, I'm saying that shouldn't happen. Okay, I'm saying that shouldn't happen. That I do not believe in any kind of ethnic cleansing. And I know, you see what I mean? Yeah, that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be parts of Israel that are reallocated to the Palestinians. I'm just saying, um, yeah, okay, yeah, and fair, okay. Um, anyway, uh, that is very fair, Matt Saiga. I shouldn't say that. That's a good point, Matt Saiga. Okay, Matt Saiga always looking out for me. Okay, all right. Let us continue here.
democracy, which means one person, one vote, which means above all equality. It's the end of the Jewish state. It's the end of the dreams about a Palestinian state, but it's the only open vision. All the other visions.
You know what drives me crazy, folks, is when I was working. I probably shouldn't say that. Let's put it this way. Um, a lot of the Zionists I have been around have tried to convince me that Israel is a secular country that is not a Jewish state. Nothing quite annoys me more than when that argument is made. Okay, like I know, right, Joshua? Like they'll make the argument, no, Israel is a secular democracy. It's a secular democracy. Do you know that there are Arabs who live there? There are Arabs that live there. And Joshua, I am not kidding you. I have heard that argument multiple times. I know, right? Trump failed. I believe it. Okay, probably. Um, yeah, Matt Saigai. Okay, I would lose my shit. I would lose my shit whenever I would hear that. Lose my shit. Um, because like the Israelis don't even believe that. They want it to be a Jewish state. It is founded as a Jewish state. It is a religious supremacist ethno state. Okay, an apartheid state that values Jewish lives more than anyone else's lives, and not even just Jewish lives. We're talking like white Jewish lives more than even Arab Jews. Okay. Um, but that, and I've also heard politicians say that it's a secular state. It is a, there you go. Thank you, Matt Saigai, ethno-nationalist Jewish supremacist. Yeah. Okay. I mean, oh my God. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just had to complain about that because I can now. It makes me want to lose my mind when I hear that.
Visions are fantasies.
A naked man has little to no
Absolutely,
influence on society. And clothes like this, you step out and you know that you're going to turn heads. You know that you're going to create an impression.
Oh God. Let's get back. Okay, Alan, guys, sorry, I know I keep pausing this. Alan just said something here. Negotiators from both sides in Egypt um, uh, are in Egypt right now. Trump said he won't let them leave until a deal is reached. Hamas is standing firm in their demands, demanding. Oh my God. So Jimmy Carter, one of the American presidents, okay, he did the same thing. He brought the Palestinians and Israel to the United States, and he refused to let their helicopters leave until they came to an agreement. I like that tactic. I don't like Trump. I like that tactic. As long as it ends well for the Palestinians. But I like that. Flex your goddamn muscles, okay? Let the puppet state, Israel, know that you are in control of the situation. Demand that they make the deal. And yeah, okay, as long as it ends well for the Palestinians. I should also note, folks, that I don't know if you guys heard this. Alan told me this, and I was thinking about it. What's his face? That moron, nepo baby, the son-in-law of Donald Trump. What's his name? Uh, do it for Charlie. I know, right, Josh? Okay. Yep, kidnapping Alyssa. I don't give a shit. Okay. Thank you, Kushner. Thank you, Malzord. Kushner. Okay, damn it, Alan, you stole my thunder, Alan. Okay, yes. It seems to me, folks, I was thinking about this. Why the fuck is Jared Kushner going over there? I think I know why. And Alan kind of gave it away. Alan, I think you may be right about that. Okay. Okay. And that what has happened in the past when there have been these peace negotiations going on, Israel, in a shocking turn of events, who could have seen this coming, would bomb them. The last one in Qatar, they bombed. They've killed multiple of Hamas's negotiators, blah, blah, blah. What's a better way to ensure that that doesn't happen than to have Jared Kushner there? And I suspect that the Arab states that were organizing that meeting and stuff, they may not have openly said that, but they may have been like, hey, you should have Jared Kushner come here. Please, please have him at the meeting. Have him at the meeting. It may not have even been a direct thing, as sort of an assurance that Israel won't kill all of them, literally. Like, I would not be surprised if that's the reason why Jared Kushner was over there. Because, like, anyway, just a disturbing thing to think about. Uh, hey, Alan, you're very smart, Alan. Okay, right? Okay. Jesus Christ, that's some 80s sounds.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. Today, October the 7th, is the second anniversary of Hamas's barbaric attack on Israel.
Yeah. No, you're right, Meowzord. He's not a fervent Zionist. That also might be another reason. But I feel like there wasn't really a reason for him to be there, to be honest. I mean, I wanted a United States person there. But you could have sent down you could have sent a lower down diplomat or whatever it was. But to have someone like that there will prevent anyone from being killed. I could be wrong there. It's just a theory of
It
mine.
was swiftly followed by Israel's massive war on Gaza. Today, we look back on both developments and ask, what impact have they had on Israel and
Oh
the
my
way
God.
Israel is viewed by the world? We also look at President Trump's peace proposals. Can they make for a lasting peace, or is that unlikely? My guest is someone who's often called the conscience of Israel, the internationally
Okay, no. I love Gideon Levy in a lot of ways, okay? But the very phrase "the conscience of Israel" is like, I don't know, is funny to me. I don't like, what is that? No one, what conscience? Anyway, okay, moving on.
acclaimed award-winning journalist and columnist of Haaretz newspaper, Gideon Levy. Mr. Levy, today, October the 7th, is the second anniversary of Hamas's barbaric attack on Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking a further 251
Oh,
hostages.
thank you, Alan.
It was swiftly followed by Israel's war on Gaza, which has so far killed over 67,000 people,
That we know of. It probably has killed more than that.
injured nearly 170,000, devastated the Gaza Strip, and created famine in many parts of Gaza. So let me start by asking, 2 years later, how do you look back on both developments?
First of all, let me thank you for having me again. I'm always happy to be with you, Karan. Now to your question. It's too early to
Yeah, Alan.
judge because we are still in the eye of the storm, but it's very clear that those 2 years changed Israel, changed Gaza in an irreversible way.
There have been some interesting reports coming out of Israel of like soldiers being very angry about having to fight the war and stuff. It's still a very radicalized society. Oh, that's a fair point, Meowzord. Yeah, that is a fair point, Meowzord. I'm sure Kushner and Ivanka will profit generously from the infrastructure plans. That's a good point, Meowzord. I should have thought more cynically about that. I mean, there have been some weird things going on in Israel. Don't get me wrong; it's still a radical, crazy society. I'm not saying that it's not, but just an interesting thought there when he says
Maybe
that.
both are changed in an irreversible way. Israeli society is not the same that it was. Gaza is an unlivable place. And the question is, how do we get out of it? And I guess we will discuss it.
But tell me a little bit about the way Israeli society has
Yeah,
changed.
Alan.
Has it become more brutal, more insensitive, or has it withdrawn into itself?
Both.
I love that both. Yeah.
Because it had withdrawn into itself, it became more brutal and
God, I wish it would draw into itself more. Jesus Christ.
more barbaric and less human and less empathetic to the suffer of anyone and more hating and more isolated also by itself. The whole world is anti-Semitic. We are lonely.
Yeah.
The victimization, the famous victimization of it.
By the way, folks, classic feature of fascism, the idea of the self-victimization. We haven't talked about this on stream, but the Nazis, of course, were always talking about how Germany is the victim, Germany is the victim, Germany is the victim. Okay, Mussolini, Italy is the victim, Italy is the victim. Okay, yeah, even groups like the Ku Klux Klan and stuff, things like that. White people are the victims. White people are the victims. We're all victims, victims, victims. The Trump administration, okay, victims, victims, victims. A very fascist idea here. Very much aligned with a lot of the Israeli beliefs that they are the victims. Even the covert narcissism, right, Meowzord? And even during the Rwandan genocide, here. The Hutus were like, oh, we are the victims of the Tutsi. These cockroaches, we're victims. We are victims. We are victims. Okay, it's very kind of a soy view of the world that viewing yourself always as a victim. But you'll notice too that that side will often always blame others for claiming that they're victims, right? Um, yeah, right, Alan. And that's why it'll take a long time for there to be a one state solution because we first need to get rid of the fascism that's happening. For sure. Agreed, Alan. I'm concerned about that.
Israel, we are lonely. the world hates us, the Palestinians want to exterminate us, and therefore we can do whatever we want.
In one of the columns that you wrote for your paper, Haaretz, you were deeply critical but also extremely anguished by the fact.
Now, folks, here's the question. We just talked about cultural materialism. So the structure of Israel, right? The structure and the infrastructure of Israel, what ideological beliefs, even religious beliefs, are being used to justify this, by the way? And now we're talking like the far right Israelis here. There's a belief that, Jewish folks are the chosen people. I am not, again, this can come across anti-Semitic. I'm just saying how there are certain ideological factors that reinforce what they're doing or being used to reinforce what they're doing. Okay. Anyway, like, anyway, so all this stuff is self-reinforcing in a lot of ways.
That Israelis show no empathy for what's happened to Gaza. Why is it that they've hardened their hearts against what's happened in Gaza? Because the rest of the world is
Yeah,
quite
Joshua.
shaken and shattered by what's happened.
So first of all, the Israelis have a long tradition of hardening their heart toward the Palestinians. Ever since the establishment of the State of Israel, there was always a process of dehumanizing them and demonizing them.
Yep.
The 7th of October intensed all this, made it much stronger and deeper and more legitimate. Most of the Israelis after the 7th of October are totally convinced that after those atrocities, Israel can do whatever it wants.
By the way, history is also a function of a societal superstructure. History is typically written by the victors, and when it is presented on a national level, it is often cherry picked in ways that promote the structure and infrastructure of the society. So, yeah, after October 7th, Israelis were extra angry because there was no emphasis on the history that came before that, right? Selected like history is partially superstructural phenomena, or at least the memory of history. So a lot of times, a lot of people in Israel, they completely ignore the history when it suits them, and the government doesn't talk about the history, or they frame it in a way that leaves out that makes it hard to understand current events based off the history. Okay, or they'll focus on certain things in history, like the Holocaust, for example.
And after those atrocities, the Palestinians, all the Palestinians, because in the eye of most Israelis, there are no innocent Palestinians, and therefore it is illegitimate to take care of them, to have empathy to them, to be human toward them. And those are damages for Israeli morality and Israel's.
Yeah, Alan, sorry. Alan says, from my understanding, Zionists literally don't believe the Nakba happened. Yeah, Gabor Mate said once he learned about that, he started to become disillusioned with the ideology. Yeah, Alan, like schools in Israel pump out propaganda to their students. A lot of folks don't even know about these things. And that control of the ideologies is reinforces what the structure. Okay, you get what I'm saying here. See, now I'm just using these words all the time now that I've talked about it.
Moral profile that we will carry for many years.
So the majority of Israelis have no qualms about what's happened to Gaza, no sense of conscience or shock or guilt. They believe that this was vengeance, it was deserved, and it was due.
Absolutely. And above all, they don't know and don't want to know what's going on in Gaza. And they don't believe all the descriptions of famine, of starvation, of destruction, of war crimes, of genocide. They don't believe it. They deny it. The Israeli media helps them not to see it and not to know it. And they are all focused only on the hostages and the Israeli soldiers, as if there are no other human beings in the Gaza Strip.
Guys, a lot of them don't think there are other human beings. Like a lot of those really far right Israelis really are really Jewish supremacists. Like not even exaggerating there.
In which case, how do Israelis respond when world-famous Israeli historians like Avi Shlaim, Omar Bartov, Ilan Pape, as well as independent United Nations appointed committees believe Israel is guilty of genocide? How do Israelis respond when they hear that their country is being accused of genocide?
Oh my God, Matt Saigai, that is a disturbing point. Not Matt Saigai said, not always true, because one of the members of the Knesset said that they do need to do another Nakba. Okay, I guess some of them do know about the Nakba, but boy, did they get the wrong lesson from that, huh?
Right. Many people believe Israel is now carrying out its own Holocaust. How do they respond to that?
In a very simple way, it's the anti-Semitism. The self-hating Jews and the anti-Semites, they blame us for nothing. I think that there is a vast majority of Israelis that deeply believe so, and they don't, I mean, it doesn't scratch them even. It's your fault, not ours.
Now, in large parts of the West, not only are there massive demonstrations against Israel and in support of the Palestinian.
Not massive enough, folks. Get out there. Alan, it's insane to me that they deployed the same talking points. Oh my God, you're not wrong, Alan. Talking points Nazis used about Palestinians. Like, why won't Egypt take them? Nobody wants them. Oh my God, I know, right, Alan? Oh my God, thank God we don't have certain people in here anymore talking about Egypt. But yeah, like completely dismissive and disconnecting themselves from the problem. It's other people's fault. Always blaming everyone else. Always blaming everyone else. Okay, Hitler did the same thing. This is the fault of the Jews. This is the fault of the French. This is the fault of the absolutely crazy. Thank you, Luke, for the super chat. Luke says, "Hello, everyone. I am late. I just got back home. That's okay, Luke. And thanks to you, Luke, I will now be putting on the collar. So thank you, Luke." All right, Luke. I just like saying Luke. I'm just gonna keep saying Luke. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, he did, Alan. His first plan was let's just drop them all in Madagascar. Right. Let's continue watching this. Okay. Whew. Here we go. Let me get that little mic Fia back on. All right. All right, folks. So we get two more. I'll put on the makeup. All right. Let's continue.
Cause, but increasingly there are many people in the West who now refer to Israel as a pariah state. As a proud Israeli yourself, how do you respond to this image of Israel that seems to be developing in the West?
First of all, I truly believe that Israel deserves it.
This
Not
is
only
great.
deserves it, it's the only way to change Israel's
Yeah, Luke, she did. I decided not to watch it. I feel like it's just going to be more of the same, not answering questions and stuff. But yeah, she was grilled apparently.
policy. I claim so for many years that Israeli policy will not change by itself. It must come from the international community, like it was.
Now, that is an interesting point of view that Israeli society won't change internally. What have I told you before, folks, about fascist societies? A lot of the time, the thing that makes them change or kind of knocks them out of their deranged right wing stupor is disaster. War, being invaded by someone, bombing campaigns, or economic collapse are all ways that it can kind of knock people out of their fascist stupor. And most of the time, that does not happen internally to a fascist country. A lot of times, it is an outsider coming in and doing that. Think Nazi Germany, think Imperial Japan, think Italy. Okay. Um, correct, Alan. Yeah, they never had a come to Jesus moment. Now, am I saying that Israel should be attacked? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we could also, isolate them economically and things like that. That might help too. Um, okay. Yeah, Alyssa. Forgive me for that. I know it's kind of misleading there. Maybe Luke, maybe, yeah, let us know if you do go over there and see it, Luke.
In South Africa. Same. And here we see the beginning, and this is just the beginning because there are not really yet major sanctions over Israel. And as long as the Americans are supporting Israel
Yeah,
so
Alan.
massively and so blindly, it will take some more time. But that's the only hope for me.
If I hear you correctly, you believe Israel ought to be treated like a pariah state? If I heard you correctly, you believe there should be sanctions to change.
By the way, folks, I'm just going to be frank and say it. America should be treated like a pariah state. So for all our friends out here that are not in America, forgive me, but America also needs to be treated like a pariah state. Okay, we need to we need please help us out there in the international community. Put pressure on our government. It's not your fault, by the way. It's our government's fault. But maybe treat us like more of a pariah state. Also, that would also put pressure on our government to stop funding Israel and things like that. I know a lot of folks do already treat America like a pariah state, but I'm trying to be. I'm probably going to be hunted down by the FBI now, but you see what I mean, okay? Uh, I totally agree, Alan. I totally agree. They had the total opportunity to do that. China.
Change and encourage Israel to change?
If you agree with me that Israel is committing crimes of war, if you agree with me that Israel is committing a genocide, and I'm convinced about it, so there must be some kind of accountability, doesn't it? And there must be some measures to stop it. And what measures can bring the end of it, if not an intervention of the international community? That's the only way to stop it.
Wow. This is guys, this is super brave of Levy to say. I mean, he's basically calling for a international intervention into Israel, the country he's living in. That is extreme bravery. Very brave.
The exact reverse seems to have happened to the
I agree,
Palestinian
Luke.
cause. In contrast with the way the Palestinian cause was viewed in the 70s
If we ever get back into power, Luke, if we do.
and 80s, when Palestinian terror was at the top of everyone's mind. You remember Munich. Today, hundreds of thousands march in support of the Palestinian cause in London, Paris, Amsterdam, even in America. As an
Fascinating, Alan.
Israeli, how do you view this U-turn?
I've been in the
Well,
recent
100%,
weeks in some,
Alyssa. Yeah, Alyssa, yeah, do we really think that the Democratic Party is gonna learn its lesson and then, like, suddenly, if Trump does leave office, we'll see. We'll see, Alyssa. I don't also have hope.
European capitals, and I was witnessing those marches. Part of them, minority, I would say, are really hating Israel.
Right, Alyssa.
And I guess anti-Semites who use this moment to increase their hatred. But most of them are people.
Victoria, I love that. A lot of Brazilians are calling the U.S. As Disparos Unidos, United Shots, or Estrangos Unidos. Forgive my inability to speak your language, even though you can speak mine. United Waste.
Conscious who cannot remain indifferent when you see this mass killing. 1,000 babies
Agreed, Luke.
and
Agreed.
20
I love that reference, Luke. Sorry, guys.
children being killed is something that no human being or no person of conscience can remain indifferent. And therefore they are marching, and therefore they are protesting. And they are protesting against those who commit it. And those who commit it are my fellow Israelis.
Do you believe that Israel will change as a result of this experience? Or will it put up the blinds and hunker down and continue exactly as it is?
As I said in the beginning, we are in the eye of the storm. Israelis feel a very heavy cloud over their heads. I don't want to underestimate it. And the question, where will it take it?
That's interesting. What kind of I'm literally asking, does anyone know, like, what kind of cloud are they feeling over their heads? Is it just the international backlash that they're getting? I wish you would tell us. That's an interesting observation by Levy.
Where will it take it there with them? It depends much who will be the next leadership
Oh my God,
of Israel.
Alyssa, don't even put that in their heads. You're right, though. We just need to move on for the peace of the country. They'll probably pardon Trump, etc.
It depends much how will it end, because we are not ended now, not yet. So there is a chance that it will really restart Israel's policy toward the Palestinians.
Right, Doug?
It might.
Okay, I got to pause this. Dubois here says, I saw this video on TikTok about how if we impeach Trump and he is removed from office, it would be worse. However, MAGA will crumble without Trump. And right now, Vance getting into office is our best bet. So Yeah, they do need to be. I love that, Luke. They need to become vertebrates again. So, Luke, I do slightly disagree with you. I get your point. If you get rid of Trump, you still have a massive chunk of the country that is brainwashed. And that does just because their leader is gone does not mean some other one will come in and exploit that blind obedience. This is why I've said, folks, I have said that, plus if it were Vance, he likely has the support of those people anyway. This is why we need major reforms because if we do, even after Trump gets out of office, if he gets out of office, okay, if he doesn't get like put into some sort of cryogenic stasis and stays around forever because because we can't have nice things. Um, uh, that there will still be a huge problem in this country that someone else will be able to exploit. So I suspect, Luke, this is my opinion, Luke, is that even if Trump is gone, we're still going to have a huge problem that we will still see a descent into fascism. That's why we need major changes and reforms. Okay, okay.
Also continue as it is. It's very hard to tell right now. There is a hope that Israel will change after this horrible trauma. There is
Oh, I'm sorry. I kept saying Luke. I'm sorry. It was Dubois. My apologies, Luke. Didn't mean to call you out there, Luke. Dubois. Okay, forgive me, Luke. It was me that wrote that. Now, Luke, my apologies, Dubois. So that's just my thought, Dubois. But again, think for yourself as always.
also a danger that Israel will become even more
Don't
nationalistic
remind
and
me,
more
Luke.
militaristic and believe even more only on the sword and nothing but the sword.
So this is a potential turning point, and Israel could go either way.
Absolutely.
Gross.
Against this background, Mr. Levy, let's come to President Trump's 20-point peace proposals, which he made public on Monday evening.
Yeah, you're right,
I beg your
Luke.
pardon, which he made public on Monday evening of last week. They may well lead to the
Alyssa.
return of the hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, but can they really make for a lasting peace? Or is that, in the present circumstances, unlikely?
It's totally unlikely because the plan itself is an unlike a plan, if you wish. It doesn't get into details. There is no timetable. There are no explanations. Who is going to run Gaza exactly? I mean, I don't see Tony Blair running Gaza with all the
Absolutely not, Alan. I don't know of a single fascist leader that has ever left office from natural causes. Remember we did that stream on the 5 stages of fascism, and how do fascist states that we're aware of end? They typically end in internal collapse, um, for a number of factors, uh, basically being invaded. They either get more radical and then end up going to war with everyone and end up getting destroyed, or they become an authoritarian government. A non-fascist authoritarian government. Is it possible that someone could leave? Possibly. I mean, there haven't been a huge number of fascist government experience and compared to other forms of government, but there isn't an example in the past of a fascist sort of just leaving power and then everything being fine. Most of the times it ends terribly. Um, yeah, well, I know in your groove, I know. But I'm saying in your groove, like worst fascism, like they still don't have complete control. Trump administration is 100% Raymer. Welcome, Raymer. Like Franco in Spain, so that kind of started off as fascist, and then it kind of turned into an authoritarian regime, non-fascist authoritarian regime. Okay. Um, and Alan, could he enact martial law to prevent the midterms from happening? He could try, Alan. Again, we've been seeing we've begun to see some pushback from the courts. I think I talked about this a bit yesterday. There are problems with that because they have no way of enforcing it. I suspect the courts would not allow martial law. That being said, does that mean he'll adhere to that? I don't know. And if that's the case, will the military adhere to that? Because they take an oath to the Constitution, which brings me to my fear that this could end up resulting in violence within government departments and things like that. If he does try it, I don't know. But it is a scary thing to think about. Um, Um, uh, Mildon in my Mildon in Indonesia just declared war on Australia. That's fun. That's fun, Dubois. Okay, let's continue.
Respect to Tony Blair, I don't want to see colonialism back, because what is it that Tony Blair and all kind of Europeans will run Gaza? That's the return of colonialism in the back door. Not they should run Gaza, with all the respect. The Palestinians should run Gaza.
Yeah, Alyssa, but yeah, Alyssa, that's a good point. Alyssa says, I don't know, isn't the military bombing random? But yeah, they are, Alyssa. That being said, though, Alyssa, like the U.S. military is massive, and it can develop into factions. I suspect there are some generals out there. We actually saw that during the last Trump administration, who are more obedient to the Constitution than they are to Trump. I am not trying to over idealize these people, but we have seen them push back occasionally. Um, so I don't know. Yeah.
So, and I don't see it happening. I mean, it's even not practical. What does Tony Blair know about Gaza? How can he run Gaza, really? I mean, it is so ridiculous. But maybe out of this lack of solution, something will emerge. Right now, I think that the first stage will be implemented because of the massive pressure of President Trump, and then we'll find ourselves again in a no return way, continuing the war. Even I don't see the solution. I don't see the light yet.
So when you say that you believe the first stage will happen under the enormous pressure that President Trump is bringing to bear, you're suggesting that in fact Hamas will agree to return the hostages, and Hamas may also
They already have agreed to return the hostages.
Also agree to something it's accepted, a transitional technocratic.
Well, hello there, Ayala. Hello, Ayala. Good to see you, Ayala. I hope you're doing well in school, etc. If you don't mind, Ayala, just don't give my full name if you don't mind, but I'm glad to see you here, Ayala.
A political Palestinian government. Is that what you see as the first stage?
I just see the return of the hostages and the release of the hundreds and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Not much more than this.
How serious a weakness is it? How serious a stumbling block is it that Hamas so far has not clearly agreed to disband itself? It certainly hasn't clearly agreed to disarm. How much of a hole in the peace plan does that leave?
It has a big hole. Hamas will not agree to dismantle itself totally. And above all, there is no serious solution who will replace Hamas. Israel is obviously objecting Hamas, is objecting also the Palestinian Authority. So who is
interesting? So in your groove, that's fascinating. In good news, the air traffic controllers are starting to call in sick. Interesting form of resistance there in your groove. There were delays in SoCal last night, delays in Nashville this afternoon. Hopefully it gets worse that the airlines hopefully it gets worse that the airlines get upset. Yep, I would hope so in your groove. I would hope so. That is an interesting form of resistance that they're engaging in there. I know a lot of them there were a lot of them that are on furlough right now that aren't working because of the government shutdown. That's interesting. That's very interesting. We shall see. We shall see how that works out. Okay, folks. Okay, well, let's pause this for now. I think we get the idea. I don't think we'll have time to finish it. I do want to. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. This is a very good video, though. Thank you, guys. Unless do you guys want to keep watching it? If anyone opposed to not finishing it? Yeah, totally, Alan. Totally. Hamas also refuses to disarm. They want to turn over their weapons to the next leadership. There's also no way to verify if they fully disarm. That's right, Alan. And Israel could just there are loopholes Israel could find to claim that they haven't disarmed by basically saying, well, there's more weapons than they're turning in and things like that. So that's problematic. which I'm worried about. Okay, so I wanted to quickly watch this one, guys. Totally males, or they're not. They're not. Okay, they're probably American-made weapons too. Let's watch this real fast. This is um, someone sent this to me. Excuse me, my nose is itching. Uh, okay, so let's watch this one here. Combat veteran sounds off on ice. Let's watch.
Despise the most, ICE at the top of the list right now. You guys are fucking traitors, man.
You want to see what real independent journalism funded by the people for the people looks like?
You ever heard a story like this in America?
You're looking at it.
Congratulations for always being somewhere where mainstream media is not.
Flint, Michigan.
See you in Nevada.
Thanks to people like you, we could get the truth. Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people. You are the man. I'm glad you're here.
For as low as 16 cents a day, you'll keep us on the ground, covering the important stories
Okay.
corporate media covers up.
I did 5 tours of duty. My first one was Operation Sea Signal in Cuba.
Jesus.
Operation Joint Endeavor in Bosnia in 1996. Cuba was 95. I did Operation Joint Guard, which was Kosovo in 1999. I did
God.
Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2000.
There's that propagandistic language. I mean, not from him, but the fact that we called it Operation Iraqi Freedom. Hilarious.
2008 in Iraq. And my final tour was in Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom in 2013. And I got to go see the best president in history, Barack Obama, give out the Medal of Honor at the White House in 2014. And I retired under him in 2016.
Do you think we actually have a real democracy to save?
Here's the big problem, guys.
Oh.
It's the fact that America was so fucking corrupt to let his ass back in there. This is so much bigger than Donald Trump.
Oh my God, he knows what he's talking about. You all know I agree with
It's
that.
the fact that you got somebody that is openly corrupt, openly racist as Trump, and they still bent the knee. That lets you know it wasn't about Trump. He's just the avatar. The country has always been white supremacist. This is the country I grew up with. I remember these white people losing their mind when I first moved in our apartment building in California. You know, called me the hard ER, said I was bringing down the property value. That hatred has always been there. I couldn't leave base in Fort Leonard Wood because of the racism. You know,
Yep,
they didn't want to rent to me in Indiana because of the racism after I did fucking 4 tours for the country.
Is that true, Demosthenes, over there in Indiana? I mean, I don't know. I don't think you would know Demosthenes. I doubt you've experienced that, but anyway.
And so now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, right? Let that shit burn. I don't think someone as corrupt as Trump and his administration are giving up power. I just don't believe that at all. Because the moment he gives up power, his people go to jail. Stephen Miller's going to prison. Everyone who's been doing all the Navy guys who killed those Venezuelans, them are fucking war crimes.
Oh no,
they
Alyssa.
will hang for that shit. They will spend the rest of their fucking life in prison for killing these people. And so they're gonna fight to try to hold on to power. And every one of
Yep.
us needs to be ready to bring that fight.
Did you see? I'm sorry. I love this guy. Do you see the look of anger in his face? I'm gonna go back a little bit when he's talking about that.
Killed those Venezuelans. Them are fucking war crimes. They will hang for that shit. They will spend the rest of their fucking life in prison for killing these people.
Look at that. I love it.
and
He's
so-
doing the.
They're gonna fight to try to hold on to power. And every one of us needs to be ready to bring that fight to them when the time comes.
Yes, please, 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 please. Yes,
Was
please.
there something from your childhood or growing up that inspired you to want to serve your country?
The Army, honestly, was always my backup plan. Right? When I was young, I wanted to be an astronaut. I loved sci-fi. I loved science itself. I was obsessed with like space travel, believe it or not. But really, when I started going to like different schools, my junior high school was heavily white, so dealt with a lot of open racism, a lot of fights.
Yeah.
But really, I joined the Army because of the LA riots. I was just tired of
Badass.
the violence, tired of getting shot at for free. Just tired of, I honestly believe that I had a better life expectancy as a soldier than I did in my own neighborhood. And so I just left. I probably was a recruiter's dream. I walked in, said, I'm ready to go.
One last question. What would be your message to current soldiers, ICE agents, and National Guard
Yeah,
that are
Alan.
being ordered to do
And a lot, of course, the military oftentimes targets communities of color. I'm wondering if that's why it was so easy for him to get in there. I am not saying that it's possible he actually looked out for it, but because they know communities that don't have as much access to college were more willing to join. I'm not saying that happened in your dad's case, Alan, but it's an interesting thought.
Illegal, non-constitutional things on a daily basis.
You don't participate, right? Weaponize incompetence. You walk out here, you look good, you be a prop for the government, help people with their luggage, but absolutely do not raise your weapon. As a citizen, don't participate in anything you know is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them demons whatever they want to hear up front, but in the streets,
You tell them
and especially
demons.
I'm talking to NCO Corps, because the NCO Corps was really what holds the military together. That makes us unique in all armies. The NCO Corps, I believe the non-commissioned officers will hold fast.
Jesus Christ, Demosthenes.
We knew how to play the bullshit game. We've had bad commanders before. We let them do their thing, man. But out here in the real world, especially if they're not the type of commander that lead from the front, they're not gonna know what's happening from the field. You send their ass some bullshit report, and by all means, stay the fuck quiet.
Amazing.
Do not expose yourself. If you got a grievance, bring it to the veterans. We can talk shit without being subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But we need you there. Somebody with a fucking conscience got to still be here to hold the line. And I understand that.
Oh my God, this guy is amazing. Who recommended this? Was this Meowzord? Someone recommended this. And I love this. Yeah, we need people in the military. JMac. Oh my God, JMac's amazing. Okay, we need people in the military to understand how they can resist also.
It's terrible for you. It's terrible to
Joshua.
see people. It's terrible to see democracy burn around you, but you really are a last line of defense.
Yep.
And for you kidnappers known as ICE agents, understand this. You will never be fucking forgiven for your crimes, ever. The soldiers, I can understand.
Totally,
They took an
Alyssa.
oath. They're duty bound to be there. They can't just quit. You could fucking reclass tomorrow and go work for FEMA or do something else. If you choose to put a mask on, if you choose to send people to concentration camps, if you choose to do that shit, you will be a mortal fucking enemy forever. When that fucking demon is gone from the White House, you will be hunted, just like you hunted them. You will be hunted. You will
Right,
never
Luke, on
have
paper.
a fucking moment of peace, period. Out of everybody I despise
Is
the
that
most,
so, Doug?
ICE is at the top of the list right now.
Oof,
You guys
yes.
are fucking traitors, man.
Oh,
And the fact that you let Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and all these fucking
Yeah.
insurrectionists on the team, that lets you know, man, listen, I'm gonna tell you something too, to you Proud Boys. I don't give a fuck if that felon anoints you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We're not gonna recognize that shit in these streets. Understand that shit. So when you come out here,
You see he's getting closer to the camera. I love it.
be ready for those one-way missions. All right, it's all fun and games until you deal with heavily armed veterans who are willing to match and see your energy. Hell will flash trees over before I let anybody in my family be taken. Period.
Oh,
I don't give a fuck. And you could tag that fake ass God of War himself. Fuck him too. Right? I don't give a damn about any of these demons, man. ICE is an absolute scourge. You should hold your head in shame forever for the shit you're doing. You will never be forgiven for that shit. If you had a shred of dignity,
That's
you would
amazing.
reclass tomorrow. Sorry guys, that shit just pisses me off, man. Can't stand these fucking
Don't
demons, man.
apologize. We love
It's
you.
gotta come from the heart.
Yeah, I cannot
People need to hear
stand
it.
these
Hey,
guys, man. I watch, people out here running for their fucking life, man. That lady in Walmart running for like hours, man, hiding. And notice they're going after people who working.
Yeah.
Right? They sat here. Immigration itself is really about white supremacy. Let's just cut to the chase.
God, thank you.
Immigration has always served to keep America white. They tell you whatever bullshit lie from Operation Wetback. This goes back in history. So we know now you really see what America's about. They put white supremacy over everything, over the rule of law, over the separation of powers, and now they want to fund ICE at a higher rate than they funded the Marine Corps. That is the danger. That means they're going to use these people to stay in power. Right? They're using them right now. If you see, they desensitize the military already.
Thank you,
to
Matt
kill
Sai
people.
guy.
Right? They're telling you it's okay to kill drug dealers and because they're moving drugs, so you can kill them now. Right? So they're going to continue to desensitize these people before they turn the guns on us. You need to be ready before that moment happens. When I tell you whether it takes 10 months or 10 years,
Ooh.
we must be absolutely relentless in our fight against white supremacy. All right.
You good?
Hey, I appreciate
Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I think I said it all, guys. Listen, I'm pretty sure I've earned my way on any list, any watch list. So that's all right. I'll be proud to be on this shit.
Oh, amazing. Oh my God. That was a good, okay. That made me feel good. Thank you, by the way, Matt Saigai, for the super chat here. Dismantle and one state with equal rights. I got you, Matt Saigai. I got you. Okay. So, okay, guys. Yeah, protect this handsome man, 100%. Guys, that's I think that's a good video to end on. I feel a little bit better that there are people out there like him, right? Um, I mean, I know that there are people out there like him, but I don't know, that just made me feel good to see that. Uh, all right, I'm gonna put my face back up here. Yeah, Alyssa, let's do that. Let's watch the funny one you sent. Where is it, Alyssa? Is it in the, where is it, Alyssa? Uh, is it in the reaction? I'll look it up. I'll look in the reactions here. Um, just a funny. Okay, TikTok Spencer, we'll do that. Okay, is it the TikTok Spencer one? We'll do that real fast. Okay.
If you keep calling us fascists, we're gonna put you in a camp. The price of
This
milk.
one. Let's watch this one real here. I'll pull it up so you guys actually can see it. That'd be nice. So okay, so let's watch this one. We'll end on this note. It looks like a good one to end on because it's kind of funny. Give everyone some hope here. All right, here, let's watch it.
And eggs and everything has gone up. Nuh-uh.
Oops, I'll start it over.
Nuh-uh.
I think
if you keep calling us fascists, we're gonna put you in a camp. The price of milk and eggs and everything has gone up. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. No, the name Ghislaine Maxwell does not ring a bell, but you know what does? Charlie Kirk. That's a name that we all remember, right? Don't talk about the other thing. They're not concentration camps. They're getaways with a high density of people who don't want to be there.
I know, Meowzord.
What crime did they commit? The crime of I don't like you, which also is a crime you're committing right now. So, hope you like planes, buddy. Shut up! 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 Sharing is caring. You know who else said that? Stalin. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you see. Everything is going so well. Everything is going so good. There are 30 clones of me in vats just waiting for their opportunity. Like, I mean, one of them is Pam Bondi, actually. So they just print them out when they need someone to do something.
I love that. Okay. Yeah, this is going fine. Okay, maybe that wasn't the giving hope, Meowsword, but hey. Okay, I love that. Thank you, Alyssa. All right, guys. So I'm gonna now put my face back up here. Thank you for everyone who donated today. And I will, as of course, I'll come back on tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, barring some disaster. And thank you, everyone. Keep up the good fight. Okay. I think you all know what I'm about to say here. I think you all know what I'm about to say. Everyone ready for it? Yeah, that's fair, Alyssa. Okay, yeah, good. I love to make fun of Caroline Levitt. Okay, like everything's good, everything's fine. Yeah, and there's 40 clones of me in a vat in the back. Like, yeah, I love it. Okay, all right, everyone good? Everyone good? Okay, let's go. Let's do it. First of all, free Palestine, please. Free Palestine, please. Free Palestine. Too many have died. I'm sick of seeing human beings get slaughtered. So free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Think for yourselves. Don't get caught in an information silo. See what other people are saying, because the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. As Meowsword says, free your mind, escape the superstructure. Okay. All right. All right. We're living in a fascist moment in this country, not only in this country, but around the world. Fascism thrives in an environment where people have lost faith in their democratic institutions. Because those systems are no longer providing what they need, providing people what they need. The way to fix that is through major reforms. We need major reforms in this country. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you like you are a slug on the ground. Don't be a slug on the ground. Please resist. We need major reforms in this country. Lastly, on the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker has been passed down on my family for many, many generations. It is rumored to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back then there? To remind everyone that our ancestors have made major sacrifices for some of the things we have today. including some of the rights, economic freedoms, civil liberties, things like that. Please don't let their sacrifice go to waste, folks. Some of those things are being rolled back, and we cannot let their sacrifice go to waste. And always, always, always fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, you have a great morning, evening, night, day, wherever you may be in the world. I will see you soon. Join us on Discord if you haven't already. It is linked at the top of the YouTube chat. I will see you all soon. Also, go check out my Dad and I's video, okay? I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.